Welcome to AI Dispatch, your channel for the latest AI videos on YouTube. If you don't want to miss these updates, please like, subscribe, and share. Today's video comes from OpenAI, featuring its CFO Sarah Friar and legendary investor Vinod Khosla. Their central argument holds that financial markets are analyzing AI expansion through the wrong lens entirely. Rather than tracking stock valuations or revenue projections, they claim the actual bottlenecks are tangible resources: compute capacity, electrical infrastructure, and human labor. This perspective restructures everything from business models to the mechanics of deflation. We will examine each component of their technical and economic framework. Legendary investor Vinod Khosla and OpenAI CFO Sarah Friar recently presented an analysis that dismantles how Wall Street and the general public evaluate artificial intelligence's current trajectory. Their position holds that nearly every metric receiving attention from the market represents a distraction, while the genuine constraints operate at the physical layer rather than the financial layer. We begin with their challenge to conventional bubble diagnosis regarding AI stock valuations. Standard market commentary treats volatile equity prices and elevated valuations as primary indicators of unsustainable expansion. Vinod Khosla rejects this analytical framework as a category error. Stock prices, in his assessment, function merely as psychological barometers reflecting investor sentiment cycles rather than underlying technological reality. He directs attention instead to API call volume as the sole reliable signal. His reasoning draws on the dot-com era. When equity markets collapsed during that period, internet traffic maintained exponential growth trajectories. That metric revealed ground truth. He applies identical logic to current conditions, asserting that usage data shows no bubble characteristics whatsoever. Demand for intelligence operates as genuine phenomenon, and unlike the dot-com period, which required waiting for broadband infrastructure deployment, value delivery occurs immediately. This framework leads directly to an unconventional thesis about revenue generation mechanics. Standard business analysis attributes revenue growth to sales operations, marketing effectiveness, or product market alignment. Sarah Friar, serving as OpenAI's CFO, presents revenue as a direct function of electrical capacity. She disclosed a remarkably linear relationship between megawatt deployment and billion-dollar revenue figures. During 2023, OpenAI operated 200 megawatts of compute infrastructure and generated $2 billion in revenue. In 2024, they scaled to 600 megawatts and $6 billion in revenue. For 2025, they project 2 gigawatts supporting $20 billion in revenue. This represents perfect linear correlation that eliminates typical business complexity variables. The implication suggests demand experiences no limitation from customer availability or pricing sensitivity. Constraint exists purely at compute supply. Friar states explicitly they have not begun testing price elasticity because physical capacity cannot fulfill existing demand levels. They are effectively converting electrical power into intelligence as a commodity, with hardware availability serving as the exclusive bottleneck. Shifting from macroeconomic structure to workforce composition, the discussion introduced a categorical redefinition of employment. Current mental models position AI as co-pilot technology that enhances human productivity. The emerging architecture operates on what they term the 1-to-5 ratio. They described enterprise deployments where organizational structure shifts to 1 human operator supervising 5 autonomous agents. This transcends productivity improvement. It constitutes firm restructuring. Khosla highlighted a startup called Slash that achieved $150 million in annual revenue while maintaining only a single human controller in their accounting department, enabled by adopting an AI-native ERP system. This shatters the headcount to revenue relationship that has governed business scaling for a century. The concept that a company can reach mid-cap scale while maintaining back-office staffing comparable to a small retail operation represents a complete departure from organizational economics. Khosla's prediction regarding physical robotics carries even more radical implications. The automotive sector stands as one of the global economy's foundational industries. Khosla forecasts that within 15 years, the robotics industry will exceed the current size of the automotive industry. This constitutes a massive claim, an industry with minimal commercial presence today, surpassing the sector that defined the 20th century. His reasoning challenges our fixation on humanoid robots performing household tasks, which he views as a conceptual distraction. He argues the actual revolution arrives when bipedal and specialized robots drive labor costs towards zero. This analysis connects to their most contentious economic forecast: inevitable large-scale deflation. Contemporary economic policy treats deflation as a crisis requiring prevention at any cost. Khosla argues that by the end of the next decade, we will experience a massively deflationary economy because labour and expertise approach zero cost. He envisions a future where primary healthcare and personalised education become nearly free. This inverts the scarcity model underlying capitalist economics. When intelligence and labour costs collapse towards zero, prices for goods and services must follow. He acknowledges this creates social challenges regarding purpose and income distribution, but views the economic mechanism itself as unavoidable. The discussion concluded with a psychological assessment of current technology adoption. Common perception places us in the middle of the AI revolution. Friar and Khosla argue we remain in the primitive electricity phase. They drew an analogy to early electrical adoption. When electricity first entered homes, people used it exclusively for lighting. They had not yet conceived of cooking, heating water, or running appliances with it. Khosla estimates that only single-digit percentages of current users utilize even 30% of AI capabilities. We have provided people access to a Ferrari, and they operate it like a golf cart, primarily asking simple questions. The limitation resides not in the AI's capability, but in our failure to imagine appropriate applications. Examining these technical positions reveals a consistent operational principle. They systematically disregard socially constructed conventions, such as stock prices, traditional hiring ratios, or economic deflation concerns, focusing exclusively on physical and digital constraints. As long as compute capacity exists and physics permits, they view these outcomes as inevitable regardless of current market discomfort. The question remains, if this deflationary, agent-driven future is indeed unavoidable, can our existing economic frameworks even process it? If you're interested in the video featured in this episode, click the link below to watch the original.